Hey family, welcome back. This is your favorite life and relationship strategist. I am your girl MarshaunO. Today, listen, we got some bad habits that are killing us, that are killing our relationship, that is killing our wonderful lives that we could be living, but we're deciding not to live those beautiful lives because of our bad habits. We think that our habits, specifically those that are bad for us, are actually saving us for something, are actually helping us get past something, protecting us from something. But really, your bad habits are actually playing a part and a role in the way that your life is unfolding, specifically in the red, specifically the bad life, specifically the not so great life, specifically the life where you're blaming everybody else, the life that you're not taking responsibility for. So this particular video today, this particular content, you can actually use in life and especially in your love life to turn things around, because as I revealed to you the other day, your bad habits are what's actually killing your relationship. So 2 days ago, depending on when you watch this, but 2 days ago, I released a video on the 5 killers to marital bliss. So if you have not watched that, then go ahead and watch that. But a lot of those killers have to do with your habits, specifically your bad habits. And so what I really want to talk about is, how do we get rid of those bad habits? And so I have 8 ways that you can think about, that you can start to implement to change things around, specifically in your relationship, but even in your life overall. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The very first thing that you have to do is that you have to know what the bad habits are. So you have to acknowledge the fact that you do have some bad habits, acknowledge the fact and what these bad habits are, and then that is the first step in starting the change process for sure. The next thing that you have to do is look what you're getting from keeping these bad habits around. So what are you gaining from keeping this bad habit around? What are you gaining from drinking from sun up to sundown? What are you gaining from having affairs here, there, and everywhere? What are you gaining from being this mean, deceitful, just stubborn, ignorant? The list goes on. What are you gaining from being that way with people, and specifically with your spouse? So you're going to identify what the bad habit is. Then you're going to think about what you're actually gaining from keeping this bad habit around. Then you're going to, number 3, choose something else to replace that bad habit with. Because if you just try to go cold turkey from getting rid of your bad habits, it might work for a couple days. It might work for a month. It might work for a few months. But after some time, you're going to feel like you didn't necessarily choose to change this bad habit around. Maybe somebody is giving you some type of ultimatum. Specifically in this case, maybe your spouse is like, listen, if you don't get rid of X, I'm be gone. Or if you don't get rid of X, we're not going to do Y. Whatever the consequences is to why you're holding on to this bad habit, now your spouse is just like, listen, I've had enough. And so if you don't correct said behavior, if you don't get rid of said behavior, then the consequence may be that I'm gone. So choose something else to replace that bad habit with. Maybe you can actually take up exercise. Maybe you can take up golfing. Maybe you can take up acting. Maybe you can take up dancing. Maybe you can take up piano lessons. Maybe you can take up, listen, there's a lot of maybe that you can take ups out there. So choose one of those. Replace the bad habit with that. Maybe you have a bad habit of smoking. All of us know that smoking is not the healthiest for us, right? They sucked a lot of us in early on. We passed it on because our children start to see us doing it. Now they want to do it. And so the cycle continues. It's not the healthiest, right? but for some reason you can't break it. For some reason that cigarette is comforting you in some way. It calms you down from something, right? So instead of you smoking cigarettes, maybe you can actually drink tea. Now, I don't know if that's a comparable thing or not. I'm just throwing something out there again. Maybe you can sit down and drink tea. Maybe you can actually turn on something to meditate, just to lower that nerves that's going on, or whatever is going on while you think that you need to have that cigarette. So replace it with something else. You can find a healthier option. So like if you can throw in some exercise when you're thinking about smoking, whatever it is that you can do to change that bad habit, to replace it. So when you're replacing that bad habit, you want to replace it with something that's actually going to be healthy for you, a good new habit for you. Then number 4, you have to think about what triggers you to initiate, to show up and repeat those bad behaviors over and over again. So for instance, let's go back to the cigarette example. You get nervous, you get scared, you get whatever that trigger is. You have to find a way to remove that trigger. And sometimes triggers can be people. So maybe you need to stop hanging around that person altogether, but maybe you want to trickle it down instead of going cold turkey from that person, because there's something that person is actually bringing to your life too, which is why you don't think that you can get rid of this person. But you also know that this person is your trigger as well. So maybe you can start slowly but surely weaning yourself off of this person, so you're not as dependent on this person to be around. Because whenever they're around, you throw a dang on fit. They are super judgmental, which causes you to have some nervous issues going on, where you need to smoke that cigarette to calm your nerves down, so you don't bust them to the white meat. Yeah, I get it. So maybe you can remove that trigger, in this case, the person or people from your life, so you can put the cigarette down. Right? Now, does that make sense? Make sense to you? Okay. All right. The next thing is that, yes, this one is good. You want to monitor your negative self-talk. So, cigarette. Let's go back. So you know that you're trying to quit cigarettes. You picked up the cigarette. You was having some issues that were going on. The trigger, the person. You picked up the cigarette, started to smoke the cigarette. Not only did you start smoking the cigarette, you finished the cigarette. You actually finished 10 cigarettes back to back. So now you became a chain smoker. Right? And then after you're done, you're like, fudge. Why did I smoke so many cigarettes? I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb, right? That negative self-talk. You have to monitor the things that you are saying to yourself about yourself, because those are the very things that you believe about yourself. The negative self-talk that we have within us, it is a killer. It literally is a killer. It is something that can hold you back from doing so many things. You talk yourself out of doing some of the best things in your own life, all because of what you're saying appear to yourself about yourself. Watch that. Monitor your negative self-talk. Number 6, take baby steps. So again, as I mentioned with the cigarette example, if you need to wean yourself off of your trigger, which in this case happens to be a person, take baby steps. Meaning, you used to answer the phone every single time this person called. You was always there for this person every single time. But you know that they are your trigger. They're really no good for you. They really are no good to be in your life. So instead of you just going cold turkey, maybe you say, you know what? I'm not going to answer her call all week. I'm not going to answer his call all week. I'm not going to hang out with them this time. And then you go another time. But slowly but surely, you're moving on from including this person into your life and into your world. Baby steps. Baby steps. Like, think of baby steps and the things that you can actually do, which is like, I already mentioned a couple. You can stop answering the phone so much. Don't answer their texts right away. Right? Don't go to every function that they invite you to. baby steps. Just wean yourself away from, in this case, that particular person that happens to be your trigger, that also is not adding any value to your life. They're actually draining and sucking you dry. Number 7. Please understand and know you're going to fail at times. Because your bad habits are something that you didn't even have to work on to put them into your world. They are, listen, we're born in sin. We do not have to be taught to be bad people. We have to be taught to be respectful, to be good, right? So those bad habits are already in us. Already in us. And it really just depends on which one you're actually feeding. Are you feeding the good habits or are you feeding the bad habits? And in this case, you're feeding the bad habits, which is why you're on this video. So just know you are going to fail at times with trying to get rid of these bad habits. You are going to revert back to your bad behavior because it is something that you have been doing for a long time. So those habits really are ingrained in you. So now you have to choose and decide and be conscious about the things that you are doing now to add more value into your life, to add more value into your relationships, so you can show up differently, so people can look at you differently, and your life will really change all around, for sure. Number 8, understand and know that changing these habits is going to take time. So just like you're going to fail at times, just like you need to figure out what these actual habits are, what they're bringing to your life, what your triggers are, what you need to get rid of. You need to sit down and think about these things. If you need to write these things out just so you can have a clearer picture of what you need to do, which ones you need to get rid of, which ones do you need to start with, which ones are affecting your life the most, meaning these are the ones that you consistently hear people complain to you about because you're not doing X. You hear that one the most. That's the first one you need to start working on, because once you start to get rid of this particular bad habit, your relationships will exponentially increase and people will want to see you around more often than they want to see you actually go. So, which one of these do you need to work on? Or have you never even thought about how to get rid of your bad habits? Have you changed some of your bad habits around? What did you actually do? How did you do it? Share in the comment section below, because others want to hear what you actually did so they can do this too. We want to change lives around. We want to build relationships up, and all of us can teach all of us something. I'll see you guys later. All right? Deuces, y'all.